please.
Erica Hogan. Erica is Erika, last name Hogan Hogan.
Main core.
Thank you. Erica, where do you live?
At 48 West Clark.
Okay. And is now back on June 14th, 2025. Do you remember that day?
Yeah.
And on that day, did you live at 4800 Clark Road, apartment 313?
Yeah.
Or excuse me, 30, yeah, 313.
Yes, it's apartment 313.
Okay. Thank you. Now, at about 9 p.m., did something happen that caused the police to get called?
Yes.
Okay. Take us through what you were doing prior to the police getting called.
Prior to the police conversation, I was moving in.
Okay. And when you say you're moving in, was this a new apartment to you?
Yes.
Okay. So what were you all doing? What were you all moving in?
Clothes, boxes.
Okay. And about how long was that taking you that day?
Few hours.
Now, was your apartment is that in Ann Arbor, Michigan?
Yes,
And is that in Washtenaw County, Michigan?
yes.
Oh, it's not in Ann Arbor.
I'm sorry,
I want to make sure.
Pittsfield Township, correct?
Yeah, it's both of mine, it's Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we don't have much of Park Road, but I'm sure we probably are. But
It's in-
important to recognize that it's in Washtenaw County in 14A district. So.
Thank you. Now, so you'd been moving in, and around 9 p.m. or so, did something happen to interrupt your moving in?
Yes.
What happened?
There was an altercation.
What do you mean an altercation?
I was walking down the third floor hallway to my unit to take things in. I was approached by someone, and basically what happened was I guess he's upset about the noise that was going on with us moving in. And he made some pretty obscene statements to me, my mother, my daughter, and one of her friends.
Is that person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point him out and describe what he's wearing? Can you describe what he's wearing, please?
A tan 3/4 zip sweater.
Okay. And do you know who that person is? Do you know their name?
I just want to.
Okay. Ask the record to reflect the identification of the defendant.
That objection record still so reflect.
Thank you. Now, you said that there was some words that were stated by him. What did he say to you?
The statement that he made was, you guys are playing around and ass grabbing in the hall.
And when this happened, whereabouts in the hallway were you?
I was about way to my door. So between the elevator and my apartment unit, I was about halfway there. Yeah,
And now he lives in apartment 306?
correct.
And is that also between the elevator and your apartment?
That apartment is actually right, almost kind of like directly across from the elevator.
Okay. But would you have had to go past 306 to get to your apartment?
Yes, like I would have, as I'm stepping off the elevator, you're right there.
Okay. When he approached you and said that you guys were ass grabbing in the hallway, where in line was your mother and your daughter and her boyfriend?
As we were walking down the hallway, I was in the front. I want to say my mother was behind me, then it was my daughter and her friend.
Okay. Now, when you are going down the hallway, who did he confront first?
It was kind of like he generalized the statement to all of us. And it kind of didn't get directed towards me until we got closer to the door.
Okay. Did he get in front of you as you were walking down the hallway, or how did that, what happened?
He He ended up kind of like on the side of me as we were going down the hallway.
Do you know if he followed everyone and caught up to you who was first in line?
That's what happened.
Okay, okay. Now, when he got up, even with you, did he say anything else?
He was pretty much just making statements about how loud we were being. We should have picked a better time to move in. And it just that kind of was the gist of what he was saying.
Okay. Why did you move in at that time?
That was the time I was able to.
Okay. Was that based on your schedule
Correct,
and your help's schedule?
exactly,
Also, your work schedule?
yes.
All right. Now, were these relatively new apartments at that time?
This is a new apartment complex, yes.
Okay. And the apartment complex had been there about a month in total, give or take?
Yes,
Okay. All right. Now, as you approach, did you approach your apartment door?
yes, I did.
Okay, what happens at that point?
As we approached the apartment door, I kind of, just thought he was gonna go away. So when we went into the unit, he stopped the door with his foot and proceeded to like shove past me, push past me to gain entry into the apartment, at that point.
Who opened the apartment door initially? And did you go into the apartment first, or did you let other people go in?
I went in, but the way that the doors are set up, they're slow closing doors, so you don't close the door behind you, it kind of closes on its own. So as I walked in, everybody else kind of walked in behind me, and before the door closed, that's when he, kind of like stopped the door. And when he stopped the door with his foot, that's when I turned around and I was at the door, and he pushed past me to try to come in.
Okay. Now, when you say he stopped the door with his foot, did you see where his foot was?
Yeah, it was, so when the door is closing, it's kind of like the silver, threshold of the door area. He put his foot right there to stop the door from closing.
And was it towards the side of the door where the handle is, or the side of the door where the hinges are?
Where the handle is.
And then you said that, so where were you at that point when he put his foot to stop the door being
I was
closed?
right in front of the door.
When you say in front of the door, on the outside of your apartment or the inside of your apartment? And when you say, now describe what you mean by he pushed past you.
So, when he put his foot in the door, I still tried to close the door, and he had his forearm out like this, and he did like this and kind of like stepped into the.
Okay, now you just made a motion with your forearm.
Yeah.
You have to kind of describe for that because we can't, we're recording things and so can you describe the arm motion that you were just making or the position you put your arm in?
Yeah, so he extended his forearm out towards me, and when it like kind of like pushed into my chest, that's when he stepped into the apartment.
Okay. Now, when you were you, so he had put his foot in a place that would prevent the door from closing completely.
Correct.
Did you open the door back up or did he push the door open?
No, that's the thing. Before the door could completely close, he stopped it with his foot.
Okay.
And when he stepped into the apartment, that's when he like pushed me with his forearm.
Okay. And did you see what was pushing the door? Or was anything pushing the door? Better question.
No, I mean, his foot had the door open,
Okay.
and once he like stopped the door with his foot, he could essentially put his arm in the door.
Okay. Inside your apartment?
Correct.
All right. Now, using your, and then, so could you see if he held the door open with his arm? Did he use his arm on the door at all?
I don't know where his right arm was. I
Okay.
just could see the left arm that he used and the foot that he used to stop the door.
I see. Now, did his left arm make it inside of the threshold of your apartment?
Yes.
Uh, how, so how much, are using your, using your hands, and then we'll kind of approximate that. How much was your door still open when he stopped it?
Um, when he caught it with his foot, if I had to gauge about how much the door was still open when he caught it with his foot, it was probably about like this much space before the door closed.
Okay, and that's, are you any good with the measurement?
12 to
10?
15 inches, I said.
Okay, thank you, Judge. And did the door open more in this incident?
It prevented the door from closing,
Sure.
so, I don't wanna make the assumption, but the only thing I can assume is that his right hand had to have been on the door.
Fair enough. And we don't want you to guess. Okay. But when he used his left hand, did he have to reach around the door to get to you?
No, like it's kind of almost when he put his arm out and pushed me through the door, the door opened more at that point.
Okay.
So
And
it just stay at that same angle the whole time.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're gesturing in a way where his left arm is pushing on you.
Correct.
Okay, and that's about shoulder height or so on you?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, let me back up. Did you invite him in your apartment?
I did not.
Did you say, hey, come on in, we'll talk about this?
No.
Before he stopped the door closing, had he said anything else to you about the noise?
He was just still talking, repeating the same thing, like, you guys are playing around in the hallway, the ass grabbing, and, you should have picked a better time to move in, and all these kind of statements, and it was more so me walking away, going into the unit, like trying to ignore the conversation.
Once the door is held open, does the defendant say anything to you?
The same thing, he was just saying the same thing, and it kind of turned into, at that point of, can you, get away from my door?
Okay. Now, did you tell him that?
Yes.
All right. Once he holds the door open, what did you tell him?
Can you get away from my door?
Okay, sorry.
Can you just leave?
Did he respond to that?
He continued to talk and stand there.
Did you do anything else?
I did not.
Did you ever try to push the door closed?
My daughter.
And did you see
How old
that?
is your daughter?
17.
17.
Yes.
Thank you.
What did it take to get the door closed? Or actually, let me back up. Were you eventually able to close the door?
Yeah, my daughter actually closed it.
Okay. And other than saying, I think you said that, please back up or something. Did you tell the defendant anything else?
I told her that I was gonna call the police.
Did he say anything to you at that point?
Just still repeating the same thing. I guess he was upset about the noise.
Okay. How far into your apartment did he get when he tried to push his way in?
About like the whole left side of his body.
Okay. But was the right side of his body still if we use sort of the threshold of your door as an imaginary force field, half of his body's inside, half of his body's outside?
Correct, yeah, because he came in at an angle because of how the door still kind of was at that point. And when he made the motion to push past me, he kind of stepped with his left side, so,
So it's not like the door ever swung all the way open,
no.
and you didn't open the door, pull the door open as he was standing there preventing it from closing.
Can you repeat that?
You didn't open the door as he was standing there preventing it from closing.
No,
Did you want to continue the conversation with him?
no,
Why is that?
because I don't know him and I didn't know what he was gonna try to do. And at that point, like I said, my daughter was home, her friend was there and my mom. So I was trying to avoid the confrontation.
If I can have 1 second, Judge.
She testifies that while moving into her new apartment, a neighbor confronted her family and made obscene comments in the hallway. Then she says he stopped her door from closing with his foot, pushed his forearm into her chest, and forced part of his body into the unit without being invited. In court, the defense immediately attacks the timeline and the quiet enjoyment rules, trying to suggest it was just a noise dispute. But the key question stays the same. Was this just complaining, or was it a forced entry?
And now, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Before you begin, Cross, what time was this happening, ma'am? You said 9 PM was when you're moving in, but when this happened,
I can't remember the exact time I called the police department. But I called them right after the incident took place.
okay, all right. And just also for clarification, you said your mother, your daughter, and who else was with you?
My daughter's friend,
Male or female?
male.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Hogan. Where do you work?
At Washington Community College,
Okay. How long have you been there?
a little over a year.
At any point, were you trying to get hired by the community corrections for the jail here?
Yes.
What is the relevance?
They had quite a extended talk while she was talking to the police about her plans to become a police officer. And she stated that they had encouraged her where she already was to become a police officer. And one of the police officers responding said, "We're hiring." And it goes to show bias of both the witness.
Understood. You can go ahead with the question. I'll overrule the objection.
So did you at any time indicate that you had applied to be a corrections officer?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I want to go back. The incident you're talking about here happened on June 14th, correct?
Yes,
You live in one unit and your mother lives in another unit on the same floor. Is that correct?
yes.
When did your mother move in?
Um,
Objection relevance.
Overrule. I'll allow.
a few weeks to a month before.
And do you recall who was helping you move in that time
Moving for.
to your mother's? Who was home?
It was me, my mother, my daughter, and her friend.
Okay. And did you encounter the defendant that evening around 11 PM when he came out to the parking lot to discuss you're still moving in?
Yes,
Okay.
So just so that I'm clear, we're talking not about the June 14th, but prior to when your mom was moving in?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead, Brett.
And at the time, did you claim that you needed to finish in order to return that truck the night of your mother moving in?
Did I make that claim to you?
To Mr. Heed, the defendant, not to
Yes.
confuse you. Okay. I'll refer to my brother as the defendant just to make sure that we don't have any confusion here. Did you know your move-in date when you were moving your mother
No, I did not.
in? Okay. Between the time you moved your mother in and the time you moved in, did you discuss the time of day that you would be moving in? Do you recall the events of June 14th relatively clearly?
Yes.
Okay. You had stated that the defendant said ass grabbing. Are you sure he didn't say grab assing?
From what I recall, he said ask grabbing.
And on the 14th, did you remove the goods in that truck from another location? In other words, you were moving from someplace to 4840. Did you both load and unload that truck on the same day?
Yes.
Okay. What time did you start?
I don't recall the precise time I started to move the truck.
Okay. And when you had talked to the police that evening, you had stated that that was your last load.
Correct.
Is that correct? So do you recall who was carrying goods from the truck up to your apartment in the last load?
The very last load, I don't know who all had something in their hands. So I don't know.
Okay. And you had testified, I believe, that you never opened your door fully, correct?
Correct.
How did you and the other people with you get the goods that you were carrying into your apartment if you never opened the door fully?
We came through the door. We didn't have to push the door all the way open to its maximum ability for everybody to enter the unit.
So what was being carried?
Again, I don't recall, but all of the big things were already in the apartment at that time. We were bringing in the last of the stuff off the truck.
How do you open the door to that apartment? Is it a key or a card?
It's a fob.
Okay. And who had the fob? And the door was locked when you got there.
When I got there, I don't remember if I had to swipe the fob to get in or if it was already open due to the fact that we were coming back and forth with the truck. I don't recall on that particular trip if we had locked the door before we went back downstairs.
And you had mentioned that you have a soft closed door. At the end of the soft close, does it soft close right to the end or the last several inches, does it slam?
It slams at the end.
Wouldn't that hurt somebody's foot if that door slammed right at the end, if they stuck it in?
Not necessarily.
When you were moving in on 614, you were aware that the building that you were in wanted everybody to be relatively quiet. And in fact, you signed a form that said quiet enjoyment, didn't you?
I didn't sign that.
I'm going to object. There was a cop-out question.
Fair enough. I can separate the question out.
Go ahead.
So did you, prior to moving in, sign a form concerning quiet enjoyment of your unit?
Yes, I did.
And so when you moved in, you were aware that that community observed quiet enjoyment.
I was aware that they observed quiet enjoyment as a resident of the property that did not pertain to me.
Does it say anywhere on that form that it doesn't pertain to moving in?
It is not.
So where did you learn that it doesn't pertain to moving in?
You can't move into a property quietly. There's gonna be noise when you do that.
What noise in particular did the defendant complain about?
They heard us in the hallway.
Were you laughing and carrying on?
We were talking,
Were you laughing and carrying on in the hallway?
we were talking.
Did you say to the police or your mother say to the police in your presence that you guys?
To the hearsay.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
Strike that. I'm going to ask this a different way. Isn't it true that you told the police nobody could tell you, nobody could dictate when you move in?
Yes, I did.
And did you also tell the police that no one can tell you how much noise to make when you're moving in?
I said no one can gauge how loud it's gonna be to do it. I didn't make that statement, yes.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
The conversation about trying to get hired by community corrections. Did that happen? When in that evening did that happen?
That happened after the fact, once I kind of called and explained to them what's going on.
So the police had talked to you
Yes,
and they went inside, right?
they went inside to talk to him.
Okay. And they came out and at least had told you that they had talked to him.
Yes,
All right. And then it was sort of in casual conversation afterwards that came up. Okay. Nothing further.
Ma'am, if you recall, what were the last things you were carrying into the apartment?
I don't recall.
But it wasn't like you had said, correct me if I'm wrong, that the large things were already in.
Correct.
So one could assume you weren't like carrying mattresses or couches or anything at that point.
No,
Right. Okay. And you're not sure as to what time this is. Did you receive a complaint or communication from the apartment complex regarding moving in?
no, I didn't.
Any noise or anything? The ass grabbing or grabbing ass, whichever. Was that comment directed at you? Well, let me ask it a different way. Did you have an impression as to who that was directed at?
The impression that I had was that he was speaking to all of us.
What did that mean to you?
Um,
That terminology, that phrase?
that you guys are playing around in the hallway and almost kind of like we were children playing in the hallway, just being loud.
Okay. Any questions based on the court's questions? From either side?
I do have one. Actually, a couple. At the time that this incident happened, did you think you were being too loud?
No, I don't.
How loud, if you recall, about how loud were you talking?
It was just an average conversation.
Any louder than we've all been talking today?
No, I don't know.
Um, Thank you.
And break sit down. When you were moving the last items in, as you're moving in, I'm presuming, and I may be wrong, all the four of you weren't all coming in at the same time, were you?
No, we were. We all got off the elevator and we all were heading to the apartment.
Was that true for the whole move?
No.
Okay, so at certain points, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, at certain points, there might be others, two or one of you that would go down, come up, and then
Correct. We were going back.
going back and forth. So not all four of you were together always.
Right.
Okay. Before this incident you described, though you're indicating to the court that all four of you were coming in at that point?
Yes, it was the last trip from the truck at that point. We were wrapping up.
Okay, gotcha. This prior occasion that you and the defendant came into contact, I guess when your mother was moving in,
Mhm.
was there anything eventful about that encounter?
Yes, it was actually, he approached the truck, we didn't, obviously we did not know who he was. He was like, you guys are being very loud. Why would you decide to move in at this time? And at that time I expressed to him, you can't control when people move in. You should be aware that you're moving into a building that's brand new, so people are gonna move in. And there's no time restriction on that.
Okay, and this was 2 or 3 weeks prior to the
Correct.
14th. What time was it that move-in was occurring?
That was later in the day. This was probably, it was dark outside. I can't remember an exact time, but it was later in the day, like late at night.
Listen to the details she repeats: foot in the threshold, forearm extended, and the door never fully opening, yet he still gets halfway inside. That's the moment the case turns from annoyed neighbor into something much more serious. On cross, the defense tries to trip her up on wording ass grabbing versus grab ass and on whether the door would have slammed on a foot. But the jury's going to focus on one thing: did he physically push into her home when she tried to shut the door?
That day, that previous day, was there only one encounter between you and Mr. Yee?
What do you mean, the day my mother was moving?
The day your mother was moving
There was one encounter with him. Yes.
in? Okay. And it was as you described that he came out to your truck.
Correct.
Okay.
He also made a statement about, us letting the building door slam. He said, you guys are right under, my unit with the door, but if you're moving things in, you can't really control the door. You're not holding the door and holding on to things at the same time.
Well, okay. So then on the 14th, was the same thing happening where the door was slamming?
I'm not gonna say that it didn't slam at all, because again, we did have big things that were off that truck, which required us as we were going in to use both of our hands. So if the door were to kind of close hard behind us, we didn't have control of that every time.
Okay. But at least on the first occasion, there's complaint about the noise
Mhm.
and also the door slamming and his proximity, or at least what he relayed to you, his proximity to where the door is.
Yes, and then he made a statement about us needing to pick a better time of day to move in, as if he had control.
Well, but let me just ask this. You indicated that on the 14th, you moved in at 9 p.m.
It was a little bit before that,
Okay,
didn't start.
but it was around 9.
but we were there around that time.
Well, you, in questioning from the prosecutor, you said you were moving in about 9 p.m.
We didn't start at that time, that's what I'm saying. We're already there. So we had been moving in for a minute at that time.
Okay, fair enough. On the weeks prior, you had indicated that it was a later time that you moved in.
Yeah,
So
we got a
was-
later start.
So it was sometime after 9?
No, we were there after 9 o'clock. We got there a bit later that particular day, but which kind of had us stay there longer. So the 14th, when I moved in, I pulled up with the truck maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that, when we initially started. But on the weeks prior, when me and my mother was moving in her stuff with my daughter and her friend, that was a bit later in the day when we initially arrived, so maybe like 7-ish or something, so we were
So-
still there.
Okay, so maybe I have a misimpression and I just want to clear it up.
Mhm.
Prosecutor indicated, or your response to the prosecutor in regard to a question was that this was occurring at 9.
The incident with the defendant,
Yeah,
yes,
okay. So you had been moving in since on the 14th, I'm talking about, since
Mhm.
about 5 o'clock?
yeah, 5 or 6, something like that.
Okay, so this is 4 hours thereabouts that you're moving things in.
3, 4 hours, and yes.
Okay. You arrived, when you're moving your mother in,
Mhm.
you arrive a little bit later. Does it take that same amount of time?
I can't recall how long it took us that day exactly, but I do know it ran later into the night than when I moved in on the 14th.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. So during the previous incident, at what time did the defendant come down to the truck?
Again, I don't recall the exact time, I just know that it was later in the day. It was already like nighttime. It was dark outside and kind of later in the evening.
When he came down to the truck?
Correct.
So maybe we'll do it this way. When he came down to the truck on that occasion,
Mhm.
were you at the end of the move or?
I can't recall how much stuff was left on the truck. I just know we were still in the process of getting things off.
Let me ask it this way. If you had to, I don't want you necessarily guessing, but if you can approximate, were you halfway through the move? Were you 3/4 of the way? And I'm talking about the previous occasion.
With my mom.
Yeah.
And her things. Say maybe about a quarter of the way. I had to try to wrap it up.
So you were about a quarter of the way done when he came down to the truck.
Correct.
All right. Any questions based upon the court's questions?
No, Your Honor.
Um, I have a couple that might help. I hope help. Um, when you moved your mom in and on the 14th, did you think you were making any unreasonable noise moving in?
No.
Was it sort of the standard noise from moving in that you would expect into an apartment complex?
Yes.
All right. Now, um, were you trying to make a bunch of noise when you moved in?
No.
Um, Were you trying to be aware of the other residents?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. May step down.